Don't hate the black, don't hate the white. If you get bitten, just hate the bite.
Afro Svengalis, I must say, I like Sly Stone's message. And before I get to the main commentary, I want to say briefly, we obviously don't have any control over who watches content we post on YouTube because it's a video streaming platform. The whole world has access to what you post. But one thing I do want to make clear, what I have to say, I don't address it to losers because they're not able to conceptualize the meaning of the information that I'm conveying. First and foremost, what you need to avoid at all costs. Never assume the burdens of a loser. And when I say loser, I'm not talking about someone who's looking to improve him or herself. There's things about the person that they want to make better. I'm talking about someone who has such a poor self-concept that the goal in life is try to find others and make them feel just as bad as that person does about themselves. It is the loser's prison. Let the loser rot in it, but never let a loser cross boundaries with you. Be prepared to do what you need to do to protect your dignity and self-respect. And if that means getting the law involved, you get the law involved. You don't owe a loser anything. You don't owe a loser protection. Because once you try to protect the loser has you in the prison that loser is rotting in. Don't even approach the loser. And if the loser approaches you, rest assured it will be sooner rather than later that the loser reveals just what the loser is. Let them say whatever they want to say. Whether it's bald-faced lies, mixing, mashing, mooshing up information, all in an effort to try to make themselves feel that they are anything other than what they really are, which is a loser. It never fails. If someone really felt confident about who they were, they wouldn't engage in loser tactics, which only do what? Show the loser exactly what the loser is. Nothing else but a loser. Now, on to the main commentary. I'm here to talk about the woman card, pulling the woman card. I've been working on this video since it was last week, but things seem to have gotten out of control. So I'm coming back on to do some edits to the original video that I didn't get a chance to even post. So let me tell you people what I find to be beyond its one respect, it leaves me speechless. I know that people are focusing in on the situation with Photon DNA and Garfield, also known as Carrie Ann. I'm going to use Garfield. I don't want to keep saying that person's name on this channel at any rate. People are focusing on all this stuff going on. Now, I realize there are many of you listening that don't even go to other spaces, but you can't help but see stuff coming up in the, what do you call it? Suggested videos. No matter how much you try to hide whoever's channel, it always seems to come up. At any rate, people are focusing on this. I don't even want to call it a back and forth, because I think that is a discredit to what's happening. People giving their views about this. I'm not going to call this a back and forth. I think that belittles the seriousness of the situation. And what I mean by that, people often don't want to go back in time and look to the origins of how things got started. If you're in the here and now, when I say you, people who it applies to, being in the here and now makes it very easy to try to use these archaic, unwritten rules when it comes to men and women. As in, oh, the man should be respectful to the woman. You shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be talking to a woman like that. Staying in the here and now with that, that's easy. That allows people to escape responsibility for their own actions. I don't know of any rule that says men should allow women just to treat them like shit because it's not appropriate for a man to come for a woman. Because we hear people saying that, oh my God, he actually spoke to her like that and she is a woman. Let's go back in history, people. Let's rewind the clock. Now, if I am incorrect, let me know. But I am 99.6%. This is the timeline of events. But if it didn't happen that way, there's only going to be a slight variance. Because I know the time span between certain events was very, very limited, very brief. So here's a situation of how this Garfield person came onto the scenes and hopped on panels and was making these very concrete, absolute negative statements about black men. And this is a free country. You have a right to say what you want to say. There were a lot of inaccuracies about statements that Garfield made. I mean, I don't even want to repeat them. I think most of us knew what they were. Just basically A to Z, trashing black men. And one of the worst things that I remember she said is about the dangerousness of black men towards black women. But let me tell you, domestic violence occurs in all cultures. And yes, I know based on our population, by number, we do have a high rate of homicide and violence. The manner in which Garfield brought this information in was filled with anger, hatred, and rage. It was not brought in as a discussion piece to forge any understanding. And certainly, Garfield did not reference the fact that women do indeed perpetrate domestic violence upon men and kill them. It doesn't matter that more women die. So that means the men that do die, it's not important. Don't address it. It's not an exclusive issue. But the attitude that she had was the most disturbing. And then what did she do? When she saw people were not going to stand for what she was doing, she started talking about how she has mental health issues. Now, I have stated this before and I will state it again. I'm not making any comments on anybody's mental health issues. I don't have medical records. That is not my role here. You will never get me to comment on it. I don't care what anybody says about me. I'm staying out of that discussion. Doesn't stop anybody else from giving their opinion. Say what you want to say. I'm not weighing in on it, but I will say this. It is not relevant whether or not it is true when it comes to people having a right to defend themselves against what Garfield has stated about them. I really believe, strongly believe, that Garfield mentioning this issue or these issues about mental health, I wouldn't even call it manipulating, because manipulating means success. And as we see, there isn't success here. I definitely would call it calculating. Whether or not it's true, it's definitely calculating. It's designed to achieve a certain effect. It hasn't succeeded, but this is certainly the angle. Now, there were some females who tacked onto that and decided to defend Garfield because she was saying she had these issues. Again, it's not relevant. You are not absolved from your responsibility, from your statements, just because you say you have a mental health condition. Now, let me sidetrack for a second. The Nipsey Hussle trial, the woman who drove the getaway car, the woman stated that the now convicted killer, Eric Holder, told her to drive, and she wanted to know what was going on because she heard all the shots, and he said he was going to slap her if she didn't drive off. So she said that scared her because of a situation she had been in before. She stated that she was in a car with another man, and man different from Eric Holder. They got into a fight, and the car ended up wrecking, and she was seriously injured. Now, they checked out the story, and it was true, but guess what? That doesn't let you off the hook. You still engaged in an act, a criminal act, or actually more than two criminal acts, accessory before and after the fact, in association with murder. You don't get excuses because of a traumatic experience. Guess what? They didn't care. Somebody's been murdered, and you were an accessory before the fact and after the fact. We don't have any concern about your issues, blocking your judgment. We know this. If you do not get on that witness stand and testify, you're going to be charged with 2 very serious felonies. You see what I'm saying, people? You can't use whatever issues you have going on to say, hands off me. You don't get hands off me by being a participant in the process and saying nothing and doing nothing to correct the situation. With this person, they had to hunt her down. They didn't believe that she didn't hear and see what the hell was going on. Her mother came and told her. She played, oh, come on. But they said, we don't give a damn. This is what you better do. Get on the witness stand. So here we have a situation here. Hands off me because I went through this. But hands off you while you're not changing your conduct. You're escalating and continuing to bring forth this issue that you say you have. We have to recognize that people have a right to make a choice. If you so choose to believe what Garfield says and give her the concessions that she says she's not looking for, but she clearly is, you can do that. You cannot speak on anyone else who decides, I'm going to assert my rights against these attacks that Garfield has launched. And I'll tell you right now, I don't care what Garfield has to say about me. Same as Living Life the Fullest said the same thing. I could care less. I got other concerns about other things Garfield has said. I'll get to that. But everyone gets to choose what they would do in a situation like that. Or you can sit out, whatever, but you cannot compel anybody to look at a situation just because you personally decided that is your decision. Everybody gets to retain their own decision as to this situation or any situation where conduct is in question and people are bringing forth their conditions while continuing to say, I'm not using it as an excuse. That is not legitimate. Because if you're not using it as an excuse, you wouldn't be constantly bringing it up. Let me tell you why. I confirmed this is what she was doing. At first, she came after, this is about the beat situation between Remix and KKC. She first started out, because of course I'm very interested in this because of KKC. I can't decipher what happened. I couldn't tell you jack shit about production of music. I just know the finished product sounded good. He ignored her. He didn't even say anything to her. One time he responded and it wasn't anything like any fireworks, but like the 4th time she got in there and tried to say, my ex-boyfriend was a producer and all whatever she said. That's when Remix let her know he knew who she was, that she's been going around these YouTube streets, and he's well aware that she's just trying to capture whatever she's trying to capture. And I knew this person was doing just that. She wasn't getting enough recognition for what she was doing, so she continued to escalate, coming after all these dudes, just using this vulgar and vile language. And now people are starting to talk about her. And at one point, she was on a panel loving it, saying, I love the effery. This is fun. I'm just coming here to do la la. What happened to her mental health issues? She stated that before when people first started coming for her. And she talked about these supposed mental health issues. People backed off, and then she starts coming for all these people. She didn't get it. She couldn't get enough. So she kept going on and got a false sense of confidence, a false sense of confidence in her. And what ends up happening, she had to get taken care of by Remix. Around the same time, she's hooking up with Photon, right?